This is Krabi Boat Lagoon and we are in the centre of Phuket. Krabi Boat Lagoon is the older sister to... what am I talking about? We're not in Krabi Boat Lagoon, this is Phuket Boat Lagoon. Idiot. This is one of the biggest marinas in the area. It's also where quite a lot of the hardware stores, the marine hardware stores, are based. So we've taken a car for the day and we've driven around the top of the Phang Nga Peninsula and into Krabi, and this is our first port of call. There's a guy here called Wayne's World who runs a big warehouse full of second-hand boat gear, and we're after a kedge anchor. I've heard he's got a couple, and there's another store called AME, and that is a real treasure trove for lots of marine bits and pieces. So let's go and find out what it's all about. Okay, so here we are at AME. This is the Aladdin's Cave I was talking about. As you can see, it stretches all the way down there, all the way down there. This is my assistant for the morning.
Okay, morning.
Sawadee. And Liz is just down here, and apparently she's looking at second-hand anchors. So we're just going to go and have a quick look. We're looking for a kedge anchor.
Oh, that might be the right size.
What have you found,
He's got
Liz?
second-hand fortresses. He's just checking the sizes. I'm trying to work out what 15 pounds is in kilos.
It's about 7. It's about half.
Yeah, so this is a bit too big. But
Just one size too big, I would say.
It's one up, but of course you can take it apart.
Yeah, you can take it
store
apart
it.
and then you can
But what's the
reassemble
price?
Okay, I asked my
Yep, you asked the price, and then in the meantime they have got Danforths.
Yep.
And they've got stainless and they've got galvanised. So what we're looking for is something to help with the catchment of the water on our new hard Dodger. It's going to be these. So these set through the top, bottom bit screws off, top bit screws on, and there's the hole, and the hose goes on the end, and at some point we'll do some filtering as well, but those will fit very nicely in the Dodger. I'm going to buy another one for luck. We're at Rolly-Tasker and we have brought our old Mizzen staysail here to have a look at. We're either going to repair it or we're going to replace it. Let's find out.
Does it look like a Mizzen?
So we've just been told that the fabric is still fine. We think the Mizzen is probably as old as Esper, so that's 28 years old, but what he says is it's probably not been used that much, and that's what we thought when we first started using it. It seemed pretty pristine. So we have two options. We can just replace the whole panel, and then the seams will all remain the same and it should just about look pretty much as it did before, or we can just take a part of this panel out and just replace the bottom bit with quite a close blue, and that will just put one more seam in it. We don't think it will make any difference to the way she sails. But I'm just going to get a couple of quotes and see what's worth doing.
Okay, so a bit of a result on that Mizzen staysail, as Liz says. Just going to put in a small panel, which is fine. Pretty cheap as well, about the equivalent of £50. They should do it in about a week. We're now here with May, who's in charge of the chandlery section. She's good friends with Phil, who you saw in a video a few weeks ago, who was skippering a boat on Pirate Jam. And we've met her a couple of times before, and she's just going to help us now select, or at least discuss, thread and material for the Dodger. So we understand that we're probably best sticking with Sunbrella, because most of the material for the Dodger is actually going to be clear glass. It's not going to be material. So what little sunbrella we'll be using will just be around the edges. We've been advised as well to maybe stick with the darker colours. It tends to last a little bit longer, doesn't fade as much, and one guy we spoke to said in his experience it remains slightly more waterproof. Don't know how true that is, but we figured a navy blue would match the UV strips on our sails. So that's what we're going to do now. So first of all thread and then sunbrella. We just came down to have a look at the different types of plastic that they use for the windows. It turns out that REFIT has strata glass. If you remember, we were talking about strata glass. It's supposed to be a premium plastic that doesn't scratch and can still be stitched, but behaves a bit more like glass. So I've just had a look at it. I was actually surprised. It is, I would say it's more like a plastic, a rollable plastic. So the main difference is the price. Here, strata glass is 11,000 baht for 2.8 meters in length by about 1.5 meters in width. So it's pricey when you compare it to your normal stuff. And the other stuff they're using here, I think it's called Clear Bright, and that is the other premium plastic glass. And then of course you get the cheaper ones as well. So interesting to see strata glass in real life, but at this price I don't think we'll be using it.
Yes, this is a little thicker. The strata glass is a little thicker. It's good, yeah. It's not. This is more flexible, but it's still pretty solid. I think it's more solid than what we have at the moment in our spray hood. But the strata glass almost twice the price. But what it has is it stops scratches and so forth, so it could be really good. We have to go back now and we have to do some calculations. We've been up since 5. It's been a long day, 3.5 hour drive from Krabi to Phuket. We've done loads today, got loads of stuff. Tired now, so we decided we would treat ourselves to a little bit of a special evening, staying overnight, and we found this fantastic hotel where Jamie's mum and dad stayed 2 years ago, and we got it at a real last minute bargain, so here we are.
Well, as Liz said, Mum and Dad came to stay here 2 years ago, so we know this hotel, and I realised there is only one reason why Liz booked it, and that is because it's got a bath. Not only has it got a bath, the bath is on the balcony, so you can have a bath looking out at the sunset.
So the main reason for coming into Phuket was to buy these. A cutlass bearing, and it's a Johnson cutlass bearing, so we got that, and we got a spare too. We need anodes for our max prop, so we got one of those. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 anodes for our max prop, because you never know where you can get those from. More anodes for the shaft, again, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can never have too many anodes. Grease, various connectors. We picked up a couple of these pumps, float switch. This little group of things here is for the rain catcher. That's the hole down which the rain will go. The inline water filter, get rid of all that bird shit. More hose bits, D-clamps. Clearly we're going to need some hose. Clearly we're going to need some cables. Some lovely big, I can't remember what they're fucking called. There's one other thing that we've been looking for a number of years now, and that's a replacement for our secondary anchor. We've got an old CQR which is about this big and weighs more than I do, which has been sitting in the back of the boat in the lazarette, adding to that weight. So we've been on the lookout for something a bit lighter that will do the job and folds away, and of course the ideal would be a fortress. And that's why we got this. Yesterday we were at one of the apartments in the marina while the paint crew came on board and they sprayed the cockpit for us, and they've done a magnificent job. It is beautiful. It's like new. Oh, it's all shiny and gleaming and white. Still got a few things to finish this morning, but we're able to get back on the boat and go up and down the gangway. So yeah, what can I say? Particularly the track around the front, which we had to take off, had left all kinds of marks and holes and horrors. Looks really good. At the same time, we didn't realise they were going to come over and have a look at the Dodger, and they've already started to fill it, so you can get a really good idea now what the RAINCATCHER is going to look like. And this morning they were even starting to fair it, so the work is really moving at a pace. We're really happy about this. In order to install the new heater in the saloon, we're going to have to move the flat screen TV, which will be where the chimney is going to go. So there is enough room on that big wall. We're going to move it to port, but it can't be completely flat because you won't be able to see it unless you're right in that corner. So Ton is creating a wedge which will sit behind the TV, a really strong wedge that will hold it in place, and it will give it a slight angle into the saloon so we can both sit back and watch the films.
Painters are done at the front of the boat. Can you believe that? They did it without me even noticing. So you can see quite clearly the new coat of paint. It should be interesting to see how well they match that with that. We have asked them to polish up the paint work, so going to be interesting to follow that. The new coat that they've put on seems to be okay, no drips, nothing like that, hasn't gone all orange peely, so that bit worked. So as you know, Liz is back in the UK at the moment. She's visiting her ailing father, and we'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who sent her well wishes. Her father's not doing so well, unfortunately. He's now in a home because he requires 24-hour care. But the good news is that all of his family are visiting him regularly. He's comfortable, he's laughing, and he's being kept amused by his little grandson, Henry Jr. So thank you very much to everyone who sent those messages. We really appreciate it. Okay, last week we put out 3 videos, and one of them directed you to our blog in which Liz broke down our entire refit costs, and it generated a lot of discussion. Some of you thought the costs were extortionate, whilst others thought they were pretty reasonable. So interesting to get that comparison. And a couple of you even went as far as breaking down your own refit costs and some estimates based on where your boat is based, and that was really useful. So we hope that both the blog and all the discussion underneath the little video clip that we did to accompany it will help those who are looking to do their own refit and give them some kind of guidance and ammunition. So if you missed it, do go and check them out. In last week's episode we talked about putting on the track for our canvas work around the cockpit, and if you remember, we had to move some of those cleats in order to accommodate that track. And one of the fittings was the shore power cable fitting, and I said that we'd have to relocate that as well. Well, shortly after recording that clip, I came up with the solution. But a couple of you also came up with the same solution, which shows that great minds think alike, and it was really, really simple. This is it. There we go. Just turn the thing 90 degrees and suddenly we've got lots more space. So that saved us having to drill a new hole into the coaming, which is excellent. Okay, well, that is it for this week. Liz will be back in a couple of weeks' time, so she will be standing next to me and you'll have someone pretty to look at. In the meantime, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and please do share it, and please do subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. And in the meantime, peace and fair winds.
We're looking at hose fittings for the water catchment on the roof of the davit, so we're looking at, no, not the davit. We're just trying to find somewhere that sells a fitting for the... This slots into the roof. And I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't really been following this, so turn that off.